Lieutenant Commander Kara Hawk. Riley lay prone on a jagged ridge, the morning sun barely cresting the desert horizon. Her Barrett .50 cal rifle, nicknamed Big Girl, rested in her gloved hands, the cold steel an extension of her own will. Every muscle in her body was taut, every sense alert. Around her, the rocky terrain stretched like a silent battlefield, and the wind whispered secrets across the sand and stone. She breathed slowly, deliberately, letting the desert sounds, the distant bird, the faint shift of sand, fill her awareness. One wrong move, one careless breath could undo everything. Beside her, a young SEAL rookie fidgeted, eyes wide with a mix of awe and nervousness. His hands shook slightly as he adjusted the spotting scope. Kara's sharp eyes flicked to him, assessing his tension. She allowed herself a faint, knowing smile. "Relax," she murmured, voice calm but firm. "Watch closely, learn fast. Everything else will fall into place." The rookie swallowed hard, nodding, but Kara knew the real test wasn't in the words, it was in the discipline. The desert had a way of revealing weakness, and she had learned that lesson in full, bitter detail during her first deployments. She had earned her reputation through meticulous planning, steady nerves, and a long string of missions where every shot had counted. Today, the stakes were higher than ever. Intelligence had confirmed the presence of a high-value target, a ruthless warlord, moving across an exposed desert plain 3,000 meters away. No ordinary sniper could make that shot. Few would even attempt it, but Kara had trained for moments like this. She adjusted the scope, checking the wind, temperature, and humidity. Bullet drop calculations, Coriolis effect, the subtle sway of her own pulse, all mattered. The desert stretched endlessly before her, barren and deceptive. To the untrained eye, it was nothing but sand and rock. To Kara, it was a chessboard, every dune a square, every shadow a potential threat. Her mind ran through contingencies like a well-rehearsed drill. Spotters, alternate angles, enemy patrol schedules. All of it played out in her head, as if she were moving invisible pieces across the battlefield. "Is it really possible?" the rookie whispered, barely audible over the desert wind. Kara didn't look at him. Her eyes were locked on the distant movement, the faint shimmer of a figure crossing the sand. "It's always possible," she said quietly, "if you're ready." Minutes passed. Kara's world narrowed to the barrel of her rifle, the crosshairs, and the target. The sun climbed higher, and the heat began to distort the air, creating mirages that could fool even experienced shooters. She adjusted for every imperfection, the slight rise in terrain, the whispering wind, the subtle sway of her heartbeat against the stock of her rifle. Her finger hovered near the trigger, the familiar weight a comforting presence. The rookie's hands trembled again. Kara's gaze softened briefly. She reached out, steadying his grip on the spotting scope. "Focus," she said. "The rest is just noise." Somewhere far ahead, the enemy moved, unaware that death watched silently from a ridge above, 3 kilometers away. Kara's training kicked in automatically. Breath, pulse, wind correction, bullet drop, and timing. The desert around her seemed to vanish, replaced by the clear, cold tunnel of focus only a sniper could understand. Every movement, every detail had meaning. She inhaled slowly, feeling the calm before the storm settled in. This was more than a mission. It was a statement, a demonstration of skill honed over years of relentless training. She wasn't just aiming for the target, she was defining the limits of what a human and a rifle could achieve together. Kara whispered to herself, almost reverently, "Let's see what Big Girl can do." She adjusted the scope one final time, and the world seemed to hold its breath with her. The desert was silent, waiting, watching. And so was she, ready to make history with a single, extraordinary shot. The sun rose higher, turning the desert into a glare of heat and shimmering sand. Kara Hawk Riley scanned the horizon, adjusting her scope for every subtle variation in light and distance. Her spotter, still tense, shifted beside her, adjusting the small rangefinder. Kara noticed his nervous glances toward the distant ridge, where enemy scouts were rumored to patrol. She didn't flinch. Years of experience had taught her that fear was a tool. It could sharpen instincts or destroy focus. The rookie's fear needed guidance, not dismissal. "Keep your breathing steady," Kara whispered, barely moving her lips. "Follow the shadows. Every movement counts. One misstep and the game changes." They began moving, inching across jagged rocks and uneven terrain. Each step had to be calculated. A loose stone could roll, alerting the enemy, revealing their position. Kara led with absolute precision, crawling low to the sand, her rifle an extension of her body. Behind her, the rookie mirrored every movement, sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool morning. The distance to the target, 247 meters, was almost unimaginable. Most snipers didn't attempt shots beyond 2 kilometers. This was beyond record-breaking. It was audacious. Kara's eyes darted to the faint glimmer of movement far ahead. Dust swirled around the enemy leader, moving slowly, oblivious to the predator watching from above. She began calculating everything in real time. Wind speed, humidity, elevation, even the Coriolis effect, which could alter the bullet's trajectory over such extreme distance. Kara's voice was calm, almost soothing as she instructed her rookie. "Wind from your left, 2.3 meters per second. Humidity rising, adjust 0 to 2 clicks. Focus, no blinking." The rookie fumbled with the rangefinder, doubting his own calculations. Kara's gloved hand steadied his wrist. "Stop overthinking. Observe. Trust the numbers and trust me. That's how we survive." As they inched forward, enemy scouts below became more visible, moving in predictable patterns. Kara's mind raced, not in panic but in rhythm, measuring timing, angles, distance. Every rock, every shadow, every faint movement of the enemy was a note in a symphony of strategy. She had trained for this countless times in simulations and real combat, yet the weight of the moment never fully lifted. This was live, deadly, and irreversible. Hours seemed to stretch as they navigated the rough dunes and rocky ridges. Kara remained a model of composure, her eyes scanning and recalculating constantly. The rookie struggled to keep pace, his exhaustion obvious. She paused briefly, adjusting his pack and giving a nod of reassurance. "You're learning. That's all that matters right now." Finally, they reached a perch that gave her a perfect line of sight. From this vantage, the target was fully exposed, moving in a straight path. Kara adjusted her rifle carefully, settling into position. The heat shimmered around the distant enemy, making the figure appear to waver like a mirage. Most snipers would have hesitated, uncertain if the shot was even possible. Kara didn't hesitate. She trusted her skills, her rifle, and her instincts. The rookie whispered, "How do you even see him?" Kara didn't answer immediately. She narrowed her eyes, measuring the distance and calculating the bullet drop. Her voice finally broke the tense silence. "You don't see him. You understand him. Every movement tells you where he will be, not where he is." The desert seemed to hold its breath, the wind pausing for a heartbeat. Even the distant birds had vanished, leaving only the whisper of sand across rock. Kara adjusted her scope once more, feeling the familiar weight of anticipation. She knew that one shot could change everything: mission success, enemy operations, and her own legacy. "Big girl, let's do our work," she whispered, a small smile curling her lips. Her finger hovered over the trigger, ready to release a bullet that would travel farther than almost anyone thought possible. The target continued, oblivious, and the world narrowed down to a single line, a single moment. The rookie's eyes widened as he realized the enormity of what he was witnessing. Kara's calm presence, her absolute mastery of the desert and rifle, made the impossible seem inevitable. The team waited silently behind cover, ready for extraction but trusting Kara to deliver the first and most crucial blow. The desert was vast, the enemy cunning, but Hawk had everything under control. Every heartbeat ticked closer to the historic moment. The shot that would stun the SEAL commander and redefine long-range sniper capability. Kara, Hawk, Riley steadied her Barrett .50, fingers brushing the cold steel like a pianist over keys. The desert seemed to vanish around her, leaving only the rifle, the scope, and the distant target, a faint shimmer against the golden sand. Her rookie spotter fumbled beside her, pale and wide-eyed, gripping the rangefinder as if it could absorb some of her calm. "This is really happening," he whispered. "Focus," Kara murmured, her eyes locked on the tiny figure 3,247 meters away. Every calculation was ready: wind speed, elevation, temperature, Coriolis effect, even subtle thermal currents rising from the desert floor. She exhaled slowly, letting the rifle settle against her shoulder. Big Girl was steady. Kara was steady. The world was silent except for the faint hum of anticipation. The enemy leader walked deliberately, unaware of the predator observing him from a ridge 3 kilometers away. Sand shifted faintly under his boots, a whisper in the vast desert. Kara tracked the subtle sway of his shoulders, the rhythm of his movement. She measured every millimeter of potential error, knowing that at this distance, even the tiniest miscalculation would send the bullet harmlessly past. The rookie gasped, That's impossible, no one can." "SHH," Kara interrupted softly, her gaze unwavering. "Watch, don't doubt, observe." Her finger brushed the trigger, a lifetime of training condensed into a single heartbeat. She felt the rifle's recoil in her mind before it even fired. Adjustments made, calculations double-checked. The desert air was tense, almost trembling around her. And then she fired. The bullet left the barrel, a tiny streak of death that carried years of discipline, practice, and focus. For a moment, time seemed to slow. The desert wind danced around the projectile, pushing and pulling, testing Kara's precision. Even the distant sun seemed to pause, as if holding its breath. Far below, the target froze, a faint glint of panic crossing his eyes as he collapsed silently into the sand. No chaos, no alarms yet, just the instantaneous, perfect precision of death delivered from impossible distance. Kara exhaled slowly, the tension of hours releasing in a single heartbeat. The rookie's jaw dropped. I can't believe it." Over the comms, a voice crackled, heavy with disbelief. You call that a toy? That's a Barrett .50, said the SEAL commander, observing from a nearby ridge. His tone was incredulous, a mixture of shock and admiration. Kara's lips curled into a faint smile. The words didn't surprise her, she had expected them. Precision like this always stunned others, but she was used to it. The team monitored the aftermath. Enemy communications went silent. Confirmation pinged in, target eliminated, operations disrupted. Kara didn't celebrate, she didn't need to. Her work was done, but the weight of it remained. Every mission carried responsibility. Every shot counted. Lives were saved, lives ended, and the ripple stretched further than anyone could see. Her rookie looked at her, eyes shining with awe. How did you know it would hit?" Kara adjusted her scope, cleaning the lens with deliberate care. "I didn't know. I calculated, measured, and trusted the rifle and myself. That's all any sniper can do." The desert stretched endlessly in front of them, but now it was different. Kara's shot had changed everything. Enemy patrols were now cautious, rumors of a ghost sniper spreading quickly. Within her unit, whispers of her record-breaking distance traveled fast. The SEAL commander himself had to step back, stunned, reevaluating what he thought possible. Kara allowed herself a small, private moment of satisfaction. Big Girl had performed flawlessly, and she had done what few could imagine, the longest confirmed sniper kill in her unit's history. Yet the thrill wasn't in the recognition. It was in the discipline, the precision, the mastery over chaos. "Let's move," she ordered softly, voice cutting through the awe. "We're not done yet. Extraction isn't safe until we're clear." The rookie straightened, suddenly alert, realizing that even in moments of historic achievement, the desert and the mission did not pause. Kara packed the rifle, checking the chamber, the rounds, the scope. Precision didn't end at the shot, it extended to survival. As the team prepared to move, Kara allowed herself a final glance at the distant sands, where her bullet had traveled farther than almost anyone dared. It was a record, a statement, and a warning. Death could arrive silently from unimaginable distance, and the desert had its new master. And Kara Riley, Hawk of the Horizon, moved forward, already planning the next step, the next mission, the next challenge that would test her limits. The desert had not yet given up its secrets, and she would be ready. The silence shattered like glass. A distant alarm rang across the enemy base, piercing the still desert air. Soldiers scrambled in every direction, shouting orders and firing blindly into the dunes. Kara Hawk, Riley pressed herself flat against the rocky ridge, eyes scanning for movement, every muscle coiled like a spring. The enemy had been caught completely off guard. Her shot hadn't just eliminated a target, it had thrown their operations into disarray. "Move," she whispered, voice low but commanding. Her team slid over the ridge, using every rock, dune, and shadow as cover. The rookie trailed close, tense and pale, gripping his rifle like it was a lifeline. Kara's calm presence steadied him. Every step mattered now. The extraction was no longer a simple retreat, it was a gauntlet. Bullets whizzed past, kicking up clouds of sand that glittered in the harsh sunlight. The SEALs returned fire when necessary, precise and deliberate, conserving every shot. Kara's eyes tracked multiple enemy patrols moving toward the ridge, reacting to the chaos she had unleashed. Timing, positioning, patience, everything mattered. One wrong move and their mission would end in disaster. She glanced at the rookie, noticing the panic in his eyes. "Focus," she commanded quietly. "Don't react to everything you see. Move when I move, watch when I watch. Survive, then act." The team slipped across the rocky terrain, each movement measured. The desert itself seemed to test them, with loose stones threatening to betray their position and the heat shimmering off the sand, distorting distances. Yet Kara thrived in this chaos. Every danger sharpened her focus, every distraction honed her instincts. She had been trained for this, and the hours of meticulous preparation now paid off. As they moved, distant explosions echoed, the enemy scrambling to respond to the sudden loss of their leader. Vehicles roared to life, gunfire erupted from multiple directions, and panic spread like wildfire. The rookie froze for a moment, almost tripping over a loose rock. Kara's hand shot out, steadying him with a firm grip. "Keep moving, one step at a time." Kara's mind ran through contingencies like a well-oiled machine. Suppressive fire from the team, alternate escape routes, enemy sniper positions, and extraction timing all had to sync perfectly. She adjusted her pace, slowed when necessary, and increased it when the enemy's attention drifted. The desert became a chessboard, each sand dune and jagged rock a square to control or avoid. Behind them, reinforcements arrived. Soldiers in light armor fanned out across the dunes, searching for the unseen sniper and her team. Kara didn't panic. She shifted position, taking advantage of cover, and relayed precise instructions over the radio. "Flank left, stay low, don't show more than you have to." The rookie's hands shook violently as he peered through his scope at the advancing enemy. Kara glanced at him, expression sharp. "Breathe, track, move. Survival is your shot now, not the rifle." Hours of patience and silent calculation culminated in this moment. Every decision, every movement, every suppressed word mattered. Kara covered the team as they crossed the final stretch toward the extraction zone, picking off threats with calculated precision. She didn't celebrate the kill. There was no time for pride. The desert demanded focus, and mistakes were fatal. Finally, they reached a low ridge overlooking the extraction point. Helicopters hovered, dust swirling violently, troops ready to board. Enemy fire was sporadic but deadly. Kara scanned for threats, her finger hovering over her rifle, ready to intervene. She signaled the rookie and the rest of the team. "Now, move." The SEALs sprinted across the final stretch, bullets kicking up sand around them. Kara provided covering fire, precise and lethal, neutralizing any immediate threats. The rookie followed, adrenaline and fear sharpening every step. The extraction helicopters descended, blades cutting through the chaos like knives. As they lifted off, Kara's eyes lingered on the desert below. The enemy scrambled, disoriented, defeated, their command structure in ruins. The ripple of her one perfect shot had spread farther than any battlefield map could show. She exhaled, a quiet release after the tension of hours. The mission was far from over, but survival had been secured. The rookie looked at her with a mix of awe and disbelief. I've never seen anything like that," he said, voice shaking. Kara simply nodded, eyes scanning the horizon. "And you never will if you forget what patience, precision, and calm can achieve. Remember this moment. It's what separates the good from the great." Above the desert, the helicopter rose, carrying them to safety. Below, the chaos of the shattered enemy base stretched endlessly. Kara Riley, the ghost sniper, had changed the game with a single, impossible shot. But she knew this was only one battle in a war that never truly ended. The desert sun beat down mercilessly as the helicopter blades kicked up clouds of sand, signaling extraction. But the danger wasn't over. Kara Hawk, Riley kept her eyes sharp, scanning the terrain below as her team moved toward the landing zone. Enemy reinforcements were closing in, alerted by the chaos her record-breaking shot had caused. Every second counted. One misstep now would undo hours of careful planning. "Stay low, move fast," she commanded, voice cutting through the roar of the wind and helicopter blades. The rookie stumbled over a jagged rock, nearly falling flat into the sand. Kara's gloved hand shot out, steadying him with a firm grip. "Keep going. One step at a time," she said calmly. Panic had no place here. Discipline was survival. Bullets hissed through the air, kicking up sprays of sand and debris. Kara's team returned fire when necessary, each shot measured and precise. She scanned constantly for enemy sniper positions, understanding that a single hidden shooter could end their mission. Her finger hovered over the trigger, ready to intervene if any threat approached too closely. The extraction point was visible now, a flat stretch of desert where the helicopter hovered, blades creating a cloud of swirling sand. But enemy forces were converging from multiple directions. Soldiers in light armor advanced steadily, moving tactically to intercept the SEALs. Kara's mind raced, calculating trajectories, angles, and timing. She gave rapid-fire commands through hand signals and whispers. "Flank left, cover right, suppress that ridge." Her voice was calm, authoritative, a guiding anchor in the storm of bullets and chaos. The rookie followed her lead, learning in real time the discipline and focus required to survive in the deadliest conditions imaginable. Kara fired a precise shot from her Barrett .50, neutralizing an enemy sniper hiding behind a distant rock. The recoil was absorbed smoothly, the shot perfectly calculated, and the path to the landing zone remained viable. She exhaled silently, her focus unbroken. Every kill, every move was about preserving the team's life. Sand and debris whipped around them as the enemy intensified their pursuit. Vehicles roared across the dunes, trying to close the distance. Kara signaled her team to fan out and use cover strategically. Her experience allowed her to see the battlefield in 3 dimensions: terrain, enemy positions, escape routes, all moving simultaneously in her mind. The rookie stumbled again, bullets kicking up sand dangerously close. Kara's hand steadied him once more. "Breathe, focus, watch me," she instructed. "This is how we survive. Don't act out of fear, act with precision." With her guidance, the team advanced in coordinated bursts. She took careful aim at threats beyond the range of ordinary rifles, neutralizing anyone who jeopardized their path. Her reputation as the ghost sniper wasn't just earned in long-range kills. It was her ability to lead, protect, and strike with surgical precision under extreme pressure. Finally, they reached a shallow ridge a few meters from the landing zone. The helicopter was within reach, but enemy fire was heavy, bullets ricocheting off rocks around them. Kara took position to cover the team's final sprint. One by one, her teammates moved into the relative safety of the rotor wash, sliding into the open door of the helicopter. The rookie was last, fear etched across his face. Kara nodded sharply. "Go, trust your training." He scrambled aboard, adrenaline and terror mingling as the helicopter began to lift. Kara stayed behind a heartbeat longer, scanning for any last threats. A distant enemy soldier raised his rifle. Kara's eyes narrowed. She fired a calculated shot, neutralizing the threat. Finally, she climbed aboard, the helicopter ascending rapidly. Below, the desert stretched endlessly, chaos still erupting at the enemy base. The SEALs were safe for now. Exhaustion pressed against Kara's body, but her mind remained alert. This mission wasn't over. There would always be the next challenge, but survival had been secured. The rookie, breathing heavily, looked at her with awe. I can't believe we made it. Kara's eyes scanned the horizon. Believe it. This is what focus, precision, and patience look like. Remember it. Let it teach you more than fear ever could. As the helicopter rose above the dunes, the wind carrying the dust and echoes of gunfire, Kara allowed herself a quiet moment to acknowledge what had just happened. A historic shot, chaos navigated, and her team alive. But even as the desert fell away below them, she knew the next mission awaited, and with it, more impossible challenges. And Kara Riley, Hawk of the Horizon, remained ready, calm, lethal, and unyielding. Back at the forward operating base, the atmosphere was a strange mix of relief, awe, and disbelief. Kara Hawk Riley removed her helmet, letting the heat of the desert fade into the cooler, controlled environment of the base. Around her, her SEAL team moved silently, checking weapons and reviewing footage from the mission. The rookie fidgeted nervously, still processing the adrenaline and chaos of the extraction. Kara's eyes, however, were calm, scanning reports and monitoring communications. Intel confirmed the impossible. Her shot had traveled 3,247 meters. Every detail had been recorded: the trajectory, the wind correction, the impact on the target. This was unprecedented. The target, a ruthless warlord who had eluded countless operations, was now eliminated. The military brass would be stunned, but Kara didn't care about accolades. Precision was her goal, discipline her reward. Word spread quickly through secure channels. The SEAL commander who had observed her from a nearby ridge leaned in, shaking his head in disbelief. "I've seen a lot of sniper shots," he admitted quietly, "but nothing like that. That's not a rifle, that's a weapon of legend." His tone carried genuine respect, tempered by awe. Kara allowed herself the faintest of smiles, acknowledging the weight of what she had accomplished without boasting. The rookie hovered nearby, almost in awe. How did you do that?" he asked, voice trembling. Kara turned, her expression soft but firm. "I didn't just do it. I calculated every variable, trusted my instincts, and trusted Big Girl. That's all a sniper can ever do." She paused, letting her words sink in. "And remember this, the shot doesn't make the sniper. Discipline, patience, and calm under pressure make the sniper." Other members of her unit gathered around, murmuring among themselves. Some were skeptical at first, thinking the distance exaggerated. But the recorded data left no doubt. The impossible had been achieved, and Kara Riley had rewritten the limits of what a sniper could accomplish. A video replay of the shot was displayed for key personnel. The enemy's reaction, the collapse, the ripple of chaos across the desert base, it was undeniable. Kara's finger rested lightly on Big Girl as she watched, her mind already analyzing what went right, what could be improved, even in a flawless mission. Her perfectionism drove her forward. Victory was only meaningful if every detail was mastered. Kara didn't bask in glory. The rookie and others were exhilarated, celebrating the historical achievement quietly among themselves, but Kara's focus remained on the next step, ensuring her team's safety and preparing for future operations. She understood the weight of her actions, the ripple effect of eliminating a high-value target, the strategic advantage it granted, but also the responsibility it carried. Every kill, every mission had consequences, and she respected them. The SEAL commander approached again, nodding toward Kara. "You've set a record today, Hawk. Not many can even imagine pulling that shot off. You've earned your place in history." Kara inclined her head, acknowledging the recognition without arrogance. She wasn't defined by records. She was defined by preparation, precision, and survival. Evenings in the forward operating base were quieter. The desert outside glowed under the moonlight, stretching endlessly beyond the walls of the camp. Kara sat alone for a moment, her Barrett .50 cal beside her, reflecting on the day's events. She had proven herself, yes, but she also remembered the cost, the tension, the split-second decisions, the weight of responsibility for every teammate's life. The rookie came over, hesitating before speaking. I hope I can be like you someday." Kara studied him for a moment, her eyes softening slightly. "You will," she said. "If you remember what you just learned, focus, patience, precision, and always respect what the mission demands. That's what separates a marksman from a sniper." As reports of the mission spread up the chain of command, Kara's reputation began to grow beyond the base. Among SEALs, whispers of the Hawk of the Horizon circulated, an elite sniper capable of impossible precision, calm under chaos, lethal yet disciplined. Kara didn't chase recognition. She chased excellence, and excellence had a way of commanding respect on its own. Even as the team debriefed and celebrated quietly, Kara's mind was already working on contingencies for the next mission. The desert didn't pause for glory, and enemies would adapt. But Kara Riley, Hawk of the Horizon, had proven one undeniable fact. She could strike farther, faster, and more precisely than almost anyone, and the legend was just beginning. Night had fallen over the forward operating base, a fragile calm settling over the desert. Kara Hawk Riley sat alone in the quiet of her quarters, the soft hum of distant generators filling the space. Her Barrett .50 cal rifle rested beside her, its cold metal a reminder of the day's extraordinary precision. For hours, adrenaline had kept her sharp, but now in the solitude her mind replayed every moment of the mission. The kill, the chaos, the extraction. It was all vivid, impossible to ignore. She traced her gloved fingers over Big Girl, remembering the meticulous adjustments, the mental calculations, the heartbeat-by-heartbeat focus that had carried her hand to perfection. The record-breaking shot, 247 meters, was a triumph, yes, but it was more than that. It was a reminder of the responsibility she bore with every pull of the trigger. Every bullet meant a life ended, every mission meant lives at stake. Precision didn't remove the weight, it defined it. Kara thought of her rookie spotter, wide-eyed and nervous, who had followed her across the desert that day. He had seen her calm under chaos, her ability to command, guide, and survive in impossible circumstances. Yet she knew he had only glimpsed the surface of what it meant to be a sniper. The moments that no one saw, the calculations, the self-doubt, the split-second decisions that could tip life or death, those were what defined a true marksman. She sipped cold water, her thoughts turning inward. How many lives had been changed by her actions today? The enemy leader's death would ripple through their ranks, altering strategies, creating chaos, and likely saving countless innocent lives caught in the crossfire of ongoing conflicts. And yet, Kara knew the cost wasn't just measured in enemy casualties. It was measured in the tension she carried, the decisions she must make alone, the sleepless nights that followed every operation. Her mind wandered to the faces of those she had trained with and protected. Every mission was a balancing act between duty and conscience. She had taken a life from unimaginable distance, perfectly executed, and yet the human cost was never abstract. It weighed heavily in the quiet moments, in the empty rooms where victory felt like a cold shadow. She had learned to live with that weight, to carry it with discipline and resolve. Outside, the desert wind whispered against the base walls, carrying the faint scent of sand and distant fires. Kara rose, walking to the window, eyes scanning the horizon she had dominated from afar. The record-breaking shot was history, a moment that would define her reputation, but the desert itself was indifferent. Tomorrow would bring new missions, new threats, and the relentless rhythm of conflict. She had no illusions about glory. The battlefield didn't reward legends. It demanded survival, discipline, and unshakable focus. The rookie knocked softly on the door, hesitant. "Lieutenant, I just wanted to say thank you for today, for everything." Kara turned, her face softening slightly. "You did well," she said, quiet but firm. You survived, and that's what matters. Learn from today. Not just the shot, but everything around it, the patience, the focus, the calm. Those are your tools, not the rifle." He nodded, visibly trying to absorb her words. Kara realized that teaching, guiding, and mentoring were as much a part of her mission as her skill with the rifle. Every sniper's legacy wasn't measured solely by kills, but by the lives they influenced, the lessons they passed on, and the discipline they instilled in others. Kara returned to her cot, the weight of the day settling into her bones. She closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself a moment of introspection. Triumph, precision, legacy, they all mattered, but the personal cost was always present, a quiet companion to the adrenaline and glory. She understood that the life of a sniper was one of isolation, responsibility, and constant vigilance. Her final thought before sleep claimed her was a vow. The desert would challenge her again, and she would be ready. Precision and discipline would guide her hand, and the weight of every action would never be forgotten. Kara Riley, Hawk of the Horizon, would face whatever came next with the same calm, lethal determination that had carried her through today. In the silence of the desert night, she allowed herself a rare smile. The record-breaking shot was history, but the true measure of a sniper, she knew, was not the distance of the bullet. It was the strength to bear what came after. Dawn broke over the forward operating base, painting the desert in soft gold and shadow. Kara Hawk Riley stood at the edge of the ridge, Barrett .50 cal rifle slung across her back, scanning the horizon. The desert was quiet now, but the echoes of yesterday's chaos still lingered in the wind. Soldiers moved below, equipment checked and routines resumed, but Kara's mind was already elsewhere, focused, alert, and unyielding. The story of her impossible 3,247-meter shot had already begun circulating through military channels. Among SEALs, whispers of the Hawk of the Horizon grew louder with every retelling. Her calm precision, her record-breaking distance, and the flawless execution of a mission that could have ended in disaster had captured the imagination and respect of her peers. Yet Kara didn't chase fame. She chased excellence, discipline, and the quiet satisfaction of a mission accomplished. Her rookie spotter approached, now steadier, more confident. He had watched her navigate impossible odds, survive chaos, and strike with perfect precision. "People are already talking about you, calling you a legend," he said, awe and disbelief in his voice. Kara glanced at him, her expression neutral but eyes sharp. "A legend isn't what others say," she replied. "It's what you do consistently under pressure when no one is watching. Today was one mission. The desert doesn't pause, and neither do we." Despite her calm exterior, Kara allowed herself a small moment of satisfaction. She had proven not only her skill but also her ability to lead under extreme conditions. Her team trusted her, her rifle had performed flawlessly, and her calculations had held true even against impossible odds. The ripple effect of her actions extended far beyond the battlefield. Enemy operations disrupted, lives saved, and a morale boost to her own unit that could carry through future missions. She crouched to adjust Big Girl's scope, the rifle now more than a tool. It was a symbol of precision, patience, and the countless hours of training that had honed her into the sniper she had become. Every mission, every calculation, every heartbeat had led to this moment, and yet she knew it was just one chapter in an unending story of vigilance and skill. Kara turned back to the rookie. "Remember this," she said, voice steady. "A sniper is just someone who hits a target. It's someone who understands their environment, their team, and themselves. Every shot has consequences. Every decision matters. Learn that and you'll be ready for anything." The rookie nodded, absorbing her words, and for the first time, Kara saw the spark of a future marksman, someone who might one day follow in her footsteps. Mentorship, she realized, was part of her legacy too, the quiet passing of knowledge, patience, and discipline to those who would carry it forward. As the team gathered for morning briefings, Kara remained slightly apart, observing. Her reputation had grown, yes, but she didn't dwell on it. The desert stretched endlessly, a vast and indifferent landscape, and she knew the next mission was already forming in its shadows. Threats would rise, enemies would adapt, and the cycle of duty and vigilance would continue. Yet she was ready. A senior SEAL officer approached, offering a nod of respect. "The shot yesterday record-breaking. Incredible work," he said. Kara inclined her head, acknowledging the recognition with quiet composure. She didn't need praise. Excellence was reward enough. Her work spoke louder than accolades. She returned to the ridge alone for a final glance at the desert, the site where her bullet had traveled farther than most could imagine. The wind carried the faint scent of dust and sand, a reminder of both the beauty and danger of this harsh environment. Kara's lips curled in a small, private smile. She had achieved something extraordinary, but she remained grounded, aware that skill was fleeting without discipline, that the battlefield never rested, and that the true measure of a sniper was in the calm, lethal control maintained when chaos reigned. The rookie joined her, carrying the weight of new understanding, and together they surveyed the horizon. Kara's legacy was already forming: precision, patience, mentorship, and an unbreakable will. Her shot would be remembered, her story told among SEALs for years, but more importantly, her example would endure. Kara Riley, Hawk of the Horizon, lifted her rifle, scanning the sands for signs of the next threat. The desert stretched endlessly, but she was ready. Calm, disciplined, and lethal, she had proven that human skill, focus, and patience could achieve what others deemed impossible. Her legacy was no longer just the record-breaking shot. It was the embodiment of a sniper's true measure: mastery over the weapon, the environment, and oneself. As the sun rose higher, casting light across the dunes, Kara whispered softly, almost to herself, "The horizon is ours for now." And with that, she turned toward her team, ready for whatever the desert would demand next.